Barcelona. It's with Chuck Kaplan from Ciena. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Excellent. It's the last day of the show. It was an amazing show. There were so many people in the show. I mean, I could imagine the amount of business that went on. But more importantly, companies that are recognized in the industry, such as yours, are the companies that I'm always happy to see and talk to, because you guys are the key cornerstone of this industry. Can you talk to us about Ciena and what they represent the ecosystem of wireless today?
So Ciena is a specialist, and we've always been a network specialist. We are not all things to all people, but we focus on a kind of network infrastructure which we describe as our open architecture. And you can see in the illustration behind us, it's a capital O for optical, a capital P for packets, and an exponential N for exponential scale. But you say it, you pronounce it open, because it is a programmable open platform that brings new applications onto this network as a platform.
Very good. And more importantly, what is the coverage of Ciena in terms of the market? Do you guys have a global coverage? And if so, how many years have you been doing this?
So, boy, the company is almost 20 years old, and we are a global company. So we are we are modernizing networks around the world. And on top of modernizing those networks according to our open architecture, we are now, and this is a new introduction for Ciena at this show, we are helping service providers to monetize. In other words, make money on those new network platforms.
Talking about that, I mean, one of the things we're always finding is that a lot of the networks out in the world right now, they're belonging to providers, especially in rural areas, that they have not just such a strong infrastructure, but at the same time, the smartphones are being spread out across all these areas, and especially their user growth is also growing. How does Ciena see this industry, especially in terms of the expanding growth of not only data services, but more smartphones in the industry?
Well, the most obvious thing is that a huge amount of packet traffic is being offered into this network, and it's coming in from all sorts of, sometimes it's mobile, it's people, you know, people-to-people connections. Sometimes it's people to machine, sometimes it's machine to machine. But there's a huge amount of packet traffic that's being offered to these networks. So the network has a new set of responsibilities and requirements in terms of how to process those packets, how to transport them efficiently, to get them from consumers to content centers, and also to get from content centers to other content centers. So really the new requirements on the network is to handle these two classes of traffic, which is user or machine to content center, and from content center to other content center. And if you can optimize how those kinds of packet flows and optical flows are handled, if you can optimize them for performance and for cost, then you've really solved the problem.
Do you also see a large increase of video content as well?
Well, it's a huge amount of video content. I mean, the introduction of smartphones going from many hundreds of dollars down to, you know, even rapidly approaching $100, and video going in all directions, is that, yeah, the large majority of traffic, you know, forecasted for even a few years from now will be video in some form.
I mean, one of the things that providers always find themselves at is that where to invest their new revamp of their infrastructure and when to do it, and to know ahead of time what their gains is going to be. In my understanding, your company is one of the leaders in that industry.
We are, and in fact, so let's talk about network monetization. In other words, helping service providers make money on this network. And one of the aspects is exactly what you mentioned. So what do we mean by network monetization? First, the services that are offered to enterprises or to wholesale or whatever customers there are need to be redefined, because the fixed services don't really reflect the kind of traffic that's happening, particularly between data centers. If the traffic is high peaks and valleys, then a fixed service doesn't make sense anymore. Or if you're connecting to lots of different locations, a fixed location services don't make sense either. So in other words, the services need to be redefined. And that's one of the things that Ciena does for our service provider customers. We help redefine the SLAs, the service level agreements. Second, we help service providers market and sell those services into the vertical markets, because the problem that a bank is trying to solve, or a hospital, or a university, they're fundamentally different, and they have a different vocabulary. So to the extent that we help service providers to sell and market effectively into those vertical markets, brings them faster and better success. Thirdly, actually going the final step in helping service providers identify which customers they should and could be servicing based on the cost of reaching them. And there's the ever-present problem of the reach of fiber, and how many enterprises are actually touched by fiber, and can you predict places in advance where you'll be profitable if you build new fiber to areas where there's clusters of enterprises or data centers being built. And that's a big part of the economic formula of profitability for service providers.
And having said that, do you see the future of providers, especially providers, growing more and more every year, especially around the world, and pushing the LTE market? Because the minute they push the LTE market out to any area, their core infrastructure also have to support it. Do you see Ciena playing an important role in that part of the industry?
Well, we do, and when you look again at the open architecture, optical and packets to exponential scale, I mean, really, the introduction of LTE and then also small cell, micro cell, it's just going to bring a huge flood of packet traffic into that network, and so a lean packet infrastructure. When I say lean, I really mean that you're doing as little possible work per packet as possible. That's really how you solve that issue cost effectively.
Well, Chuck, once more, thanks so much for spending time with us. As always, I'm always happy to see Ciena, and you guys are the leaders in this industry. And more importantly, every provider out there should know, and actually is aware of, that Ciena not only will help them migrate their infrastructure and also support them all the way from the beginning to the end until they provide the customer service. It's not just a company that offers a solution for infrastructure, but you guys give them the business plan that they need to make that happen.
I think that's well said. And it's great to see you again at the show.
You got it. And with us was Chuck Kaplan from Ciena at the Mobile World Congress 2013 in Barcelona.